Hello, my name is Taylor, and I am a student athlete here at Dallas Christian College. I am also a psychology student of Dr. Neal's, so today I'm going to be in charge of teaching y'all just a chunk over what social psychology really is. So, jumping right in, social psychology is the study of social and cognitive processes on the way individuals think, feel, and behave. So, in other words, this is the study on how all of our thoughts, feelings, and actions are influenced by others around us. So, a simple model that I can come up with is that it's a cotton ball, it's the only thing I can find. This is you. This is others around you that impact you. And then this is also culture and environment that impact y'all as well. So, you, yourself, others around you that impact you, and then also culture and environment that impact y'all. I hope that's a simple enough model for y'all to remember influences around you. So, learning more in depth about this branch of psychology, there are many different benefits. You'll be more informed throughout many situations that you encounter, and you'll have a better understanding of the different kinds of influences that you have in your own life. So 4 key elements to know about social psychology is that 1, this is the science of people, so it's not involving any other species, it's just strictly humans. Number 2 is that others do not need to be physically present in order to have an influence on us. So this is kind of like a nagging voice in the back of your head. For me personally, as an example, I'm always doing my homework because my parents always told me to get my homework done. Or, again, with the parental influence, I always want to make the right decision because they were always wanting me to do the same, if that makes sense. There are a lot of different other examples, but those were the main ones to me that stood out. So, and then number 3, both outward social behavior and inward mental life are both interests to social psychologists. And then number 4 to know is that social psychology is a science. It is not just common sense. And I'll repeat that because it is important. Social psychology is a science and it is not just common sense. So, going in more deep, there are 2 different ways that we process. There's cognitive and then there's social. So, our cognitive processes are the memories, perceptions, thoughts, and emotions that guide our understanding of the world. And then our social processes are how our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by people. So, going back to what I said earlier, this could be an example of the teaching of our parents. So, whenever these 2 processes do come together, both the cognitive and the social, they can change 3 different things. So, 1 being our perception, which, if you don't already know, it's the interpretation of our sensation. So, it is unique to us because it is the response to stimuli that is based on our past experiences. Therefore, we all have different perceptions, we're all unique, we're all our own. Number 2 is the influence of others, and then number 3 is how we relate to others. So, when talking about how other people affect us, there are 3 different ways. The first being how we can interpret certain events. This is whenever behavior occurs within a social context. You'll be walking into a room and then everyone starts laughing and you immediately assume that they're laughing at you, when in reality someone had just said a joke before you walked in, so it was just bad timing and you interpreted it in a harsh way. The second one is how we feel about ourselves. So this is done through social comparison. We choose to compare ourselves to others, whether it's through looks or performance, instead of comparing ourselves to our past selves. So a prime example of this is social media, and I'm sure all of y'all have heard of this example. It is the impact of seeing others and then comparing yourself to them. So even if you play a sport, You'll go and see someone playing better than you, and you'll negatively think about yourself because you can't perform that way. And then the third and final way is how we behave. So this is our behavior and actions that alter in a situation just simply based off the presence of others. So, like, if you're around your family, then you'll seem to act differently than when you're around your friends. So, to give y'all a clear example of all this information I threw at y'all, I'll mention the first social study, which was done by Norman Triplett in 1898 involving bicycles. So it was studying the performance of people on bikes by timing them to see how quick they can do it. And then he wanted to get more people to time with them and have racers go together at the same time. So there was a lot more stopwatches, there was a lot more racers. Everybody was going at the same time this time. And then this suddenly made everybody go faster. So Norman had realized that the cyclists who trained alongside other cyclists performed better instead of when they were trying to beat their own personal time. So this kind of example is known as social facilitation. So social facilitation is when people's productivity increased as a result of real or perceived perception of others. However, if this can only be performed if you're competent, meaning you know you're capable of doing it. So if you're not competent in doing it, this then becomes social inhibition, which social inhibition means you're either consciously or subconsciously trying to avoid a certain situation or social interaction. For example, a lot of people, including me, this can be like public speaking. If you hate public speaking, you're not going to want to go and speak in front of a crowd of people, so you'll tend to just stay away from that type of situation. Therefore, social inhibition. So, social facilitation is when people's productivity increase as a result of the real or perceived perception of others. And then social inhibition is when you either consciously or subconsciously avoid a certain situation or social interaction. Now, to kind of close this out, it is important to, whenever you're looking into social psychology, to understand how different it is from its other disciplines. So, we know that social psychology is the study of social influences on individuals. So, when we're looking at sociology, this is the study of social influences over large groups over time. So social psychology is on social influences on individuals. Sociology is social influences over large groups over time. And then there's also anthropology, which this is comparing other cultures and their histories. And then finally, there's political science, which is dealing with government and their political behaviors. So, quick summary over everything I threw out. Social psychology is a study of how all of our thoughts, feelings, and actions are influenced by others. I am sure and hope that this is embedded in your head at this point. Another one is that others do not need to be physically present in order to influence us, like our parents. Another is social psychology is a science. It is not common sense. Perception is our interpretation of sensation. It is unique to us because it is a response to stimuli that is based on all of our past experiences. People affect how we interpret certain events, how we feel about ourselves, and how we behave. The first social psychology experiment was done by Norman Triplett in 1898 involving bicycles. This was an example of social facilitation. And then the opposite of that, whenever you're not competent, is social inhibition. All right. Thank y'all so much for listening in. I hope all of this information is able to help y'all understand not only yourself, but the social impacts you have in your life. This class is super beneficial, and I hope y'all have a great time learning just as I did.